was always a spiritualism seeker since I was a child. I had my first out-of-body experience when I was around 13 years old, when I saw my body while I was sitting in a sitting position over my body. After that, I had so many out-of-body experiences, encounters, crossing walls. Some were very scary, some weren't. I had so many out-of-body experiences that I got very bothered and sick of it, and I wanted to finish this activity. But it always came involuntarily and I couldn't do anything about it. I was drawn to many types of spirituality, and I was always searching for new modalities to understand God and healing techniques related. One day I went to a lecture about angels. I was fascinated about angels at that time. At one point the speaker, a specialist in angels, said one thing that really got my attention. Whenever you need to call your angel, call him 3 times and he will for sure listen to you. I loved that, and later after the lecture I learned that my angel name was Melahel, based on my day of birth, when reading a book about angels. That phrase was stuck in my head in a good way. Few months later I gave birth to my second child. I had a C-section, and I had a strong allergic reaction, probably because of the anesthesia. My body was itching terribly, especially my face. I vomited, but it wasn't a life-threatening situation according to the doctors. They thought it was related to the morphine-based anesthesia that I received. So, I was sleeping the next night, and then suddenly I saw a group of people running after me. It looked like one of my out-of-body experiences. I was desperate. I knew if the group would reach me, they would end my life. I was terrified, and I remembered what I heard on the lecture about angels, and I called my angel 3 times. Instantaneously, a very bright light appeared on my right side. It was him, my angel, I think. I was amazed, and I thought, wow, he really came when I called him. It worked. But right after, I felt deeply guilty. I crouched down, hiding my head in my face, thinking, oh my God, what have I done? I called a very important being a celestial being because of my mundane issue, and now he's here. I'm pretty sure he is very busy with much more important things to do, and now he's here stuck with me. And I can't even look at him because his light is so bright, and I'm afraid of it. I was so ashamed. I stayed in that position to show the light how inferior I was, to demonstrate my humbleness. I thought it was the right thing to do. And then right after, I heard him saying with the most calming, non-judgment, full of love voice, something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. I came here because you called me, not to judge you. If you don't want to look at me, you don't have to, just look to the other side. And that was the most profound sentence that I heard in my entire life. The way he spoke, the compassion, the love, and the most important, the non-judgment. It was incredibly beautiful, and it took me to a completely new perspective. I felt so embraced, loved, and not judged. It was a tremendous relief. It was like a very heavy weight was lifted off my back. I was feeling so light. And then the most beautiful part was that he started to send me love and involve me in love like no words can describe. It was a love that I never experienced while here on earth. I was soaked by love, and I felt like I was in ecstasy, nirvana, a place of incredible peace and love. And then he said to me, I love everybody else just like I love you. I love them in the same way, even if they were the worst people in this world, with exactly the same amount of love. Okay, now I was amazed because when he first showed up, he demonstrated how non-judgmental he was. But now, loving the worst person with that amount of love, to me was the ultimate, the maximum love he could reach. But no, his love was just limitless. Now I could finally understand the meaning of love. The unconditional love that I knew only through words on earth. Now I could feel it in my bones. The real love. I noticed that in that place I didn't need food. There was no illness, no problems, no stress, and I completely understood that love could heal any type of illness. I was so amazed because I was always looking for answers on how to heal illness through spirituality. And then now I was sure of the power of love over illnesses. I completely forgot who I was, who my family and friends were. I felt like a bubble full of love floating. I didn't want to go back. So I decided that I would stay there forever. Then the light said to me, "You have to go back. It's not your time yet. You still have work to do." Although I felt fascinated that I had a work to do said by the powerful light, I still didn't want to go back. Then I realized instantaneously that I had 2 sons on Earth, and they needed me. I really wanted to go back after that, but I asked the light how I could go back. The group of enemies would attack me again. And then he said, "Go following that direction," and pointed to a direction. I felt so safe and secure I wouldn't ever doubt it. I understood at that time that this power, light, and love was the most powerful thing in the universe, and anything that I could ever imagine that was bad wouldn't have enough power against the light. I followed the path indicated by the light, and I came back happily to my body. I will never forget the most beautiful experience I had in my life. And I try to share my encounter whenever it's possible, when the situation is adequate. Because what happened to me, the way I was told by the light, is the same for everyone else. So I think it's fair to share my experience with others. Thank you. Here's some information left by the author following her near-death experience. I've always been drawn to spirituality, but what I experienced that night changed something deep within me. It wasn't a moment of physical danger. I had already gone through childbirth, and I was simply asleep. But what happened felt more real than anything I've ever known. During the experience, I felt myself completely outside of my body. My senses were heightened beyond anything I'd known before. I could see clearly, not with my eyes, but with a kind of inner vision that was wide and filled with light. Sounds reached me in a way that didn't involve my ears. Clear, precise, like pure information. Everything around me was alive with clarity and meaning. What struck me most was the presence of a bright light that appeared when I cried out for help. I had remembered something I once heard about calling on your angel 3 times if you needed them. I did just that, and instantly the light appeared to my right. It was overwhelming in its brilliance, far beyond anything earthly, and I instinctively felt I wasn't worthy of its presence. I wanted to hide, to show humility, because I believed I had disturbed something too sacred. But then the light spoke to me, not with judgment, but with profound love and compassion. It told me gently that I didn't need to look at it if it was too much. That simple sentence, full of kindness and understanding, broke something open inside me. I felt completely embraced, deeply loved, and not judged at all. It was like a weight I hadn't known I carried was suddenly lifted. Then came the most powerful wave of love I've ever felt. It flowed into me, surrounded me, and seemed to dissolve everything else. I was immersed in pure, unconditional love, limitless, healing, and impossible to describe in earthly terms. The light told me that this love was for everyone equally. Even for those we might judge as the worst people, it loved them just as much as it loved me. That idea shattered the way I'd thought about love until then. I finally understood what unconditional love truly meant. In that space, I had no need for food, no pain, no illness, no fear. I was just a being of love, floating in peace. I didn't want to leave. But the light said I had to return, that my time wasn't up yet, and that I still had things to do on earth. At that moment, I remembered my children, and that gave me the strength to come back. When I returned, I wasn't the same. That love, that sense of unity stayed with me, changed how I see people, how I listen, how I love. I try to live with more compassion, with less judgment. And whenever I feel lost, I remember that moment, that feeling of being completely, unconditionally loved. It's my compass, my anchor. It was the most beautiful experience of my life, and I carry it with me, always. Thank you for listening to this near-death experience. If you enjoyed this testimony and would like to hear more, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. You have no idea how much this can help the channel. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon.